Okay, welcome to the Made for Video podcast. We are back and I'm with my mate who I've worked with for quite a while now, and we've done some content together. And I thought it'd be really cool because your business model actually was pretty cool, and it was one that I was really interested in. And I think people can get a lot of benefits out of like hearing a lot more about it. So for anyone who might be watching this in my audience who might not know who you are and what you do, give us a bit of a breakdown of
Right, okay.
exactly that,
So
who you are.
I'm Dewi. I am the business owner of Orange Rentals, and we do service accommodation in Liverpool. And a lot of people don't know what service accommodation is, and it's basically just Airbnb. So we have our own properties and we manage other people's properties. We solely do it in Liverpool at the moment because we want to become the experts in Liverpool. We will probably expand in the future. But a bit more about me is I've got a construction background. So I've come from the construction management side of stuff. I quit that malarkey about 3 years ago, basically just as the pandemic was sort of hitting off, because I realized there's more to life than sort of working for the man, as people say. My passion has always been in construction and property. And then when I say we, my partner, Amy Swanston, she's a part of the business as well. So we decided to sort of look into creating a business through property. And when we looked at service accommodation, we tried it on our own properties, realized there's massive potentials in returns, and then decided to roll it out to manage it with other people. One thing we did realize was when you start building businesses and stuff, you start putting things in the background, softwares and sort of everything like that. And it's quite easy to roll out. Once you start managing your own, it's quite easy to roll out to manage other people's. So yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Love that. So what inspired you to make that transition from like the construction game to service accommodation?
I think it was just the reality that doesn't matter how high you can get in any management position. The only sort of real wealth and freedom as such is by becoming the owner. And that's when we decided, right, we've got to do something to become our own sort of bosses. And we put Amy's expertise together of being able to manage properties really well because she used to work in the estate agency, and then my obviously expertise in property. So the refurb came along, buying properties, doing refurb, keeping them. We tried buy to lets, and the profits were sort of, they were okay, but not brilliant. It wasn't going to sort of keep our lifestyle going for too long, so we decided to look at other sort of strategies, and service accommodation by far the best sort of the best strategy that we've gone with, and we won't look back.
I love that. I love that. So is it like just Liverpool that you specialise in at the moment? And what's Liverpool like for service accommodation actually? Because obviously over the last sort of, well, definitely over the last 10 years, but actually more like 20 years really, like it's become like I don't live in Liverpool, but I'm like over in Liverpool quite a lot. And it's become this kind of like diverse hub I've found of like different people. Like it used to be quite, I mean, I'm 36 now, and when I grew up, it was just, I'm not going to say it was like a dank place or anything like that. It was just quite, there's nothing much about. But now it's like thriving, cultural, multicultural hub of like different things going on all the time. So I suppose what made you get like into Liverpool specifically? And do you find that sort of different people coming into the city all the time and like making use
Yeah,
of
I
service
mean,
accommodation?
you probably need another background than me by my accent, actually. I'm from North Wales originally, and I sort of came to university in Liverpool and sort of realised that there's obviously I need to be in cities to make stuff happen and to get the jobs and stuff. I moved to Manchester. I moved around sort of the UK a bit, but I kept coming back to Liverpool just because it felt a bit more like home for me. And what I've realised is that after, what is it? It's been over 10 years now I've been sort of here, and it's gone up sort of just the investments and stuff that's going on in Liverpool now. It's amazing. I mean, all the sort of docks and stuff is getting a load of money spent on it by the likes of Peel. There's redevelopments in the rough-ish areas of like Bootle, the Bootle Strand. They just announced even more money there. I feel like there's a lot of money being spent in Liverpool, and it's becoming one of them sort of, not the obviously the power well, was it the powerhouse of the north is Manchester, but a very close second, I've got to say, is Liverpool, because I'm here watching it, obviously loving the construction. Every time there's a new site starting, there's always refurbs going on. I'm noticing it all, and it's so fast paced. That's why we decided. So what I decided to do was to move into Liverpool. So before I moved to Liverpool, I lived in Manchester because I was doing flips, property flips. And what I decided to fully invest in Liverpool, and one of the biggest tips I sort of heard about was move to where you want to do business. That's why I decided fully 100% go into Liverpool, buy properties there and stay there and build a business there.
I love that. Do you find like with the diverse nature of the city now, that the property and management of the property is becoming more diverse as well? I mean, I know that's a bit of an out there question, but like even like I've been into different buildings and some of the buildings are quite funky. You know, quite like sort of out there now.
With Liverpool is, I mean, it was the capital of culture, wasn't it? I know that was a good few years ago now, but it's not changed. It's still here. You walk around and you can walk around here this month or next week or whatever. There'll be like different paintings and stuff on buildings. You'll walk around, there's like different statues, like temporary and stuff. It's just, when you walk around, there's always new stuff around, and it's always interesting. There's always stuff going on in Liverpool.
Yeah, it's funny that, you know, like the capital of culture. This is going to make me feel old, right? So I remember when it got announced that Liverpool was going to be the capital of culture, and we were like growing up. I think I left school in 2003. I think the capital of culture was like 2006, 2007 maybe. Yeah, something like that. And I remember like we'd be like, do you know what? When the capital of culture, we're going to be really old when it's the capital of culture. And it was like 2007. Like, we'll be in our 20s, we'll be out there working, and we won't really get the benefits of it because we'll be out there working, we won't be out all the time partying and all that. And then that's like 15 years ago. 15 odd years ago.
You realise how
like,
long ago it was when I said a few years. It's a long time ago now, isn't it, when they actually got the capital of culture? Bloody hell.
Yeah, like I remember like, and then even like the media wall in the city now, like outside Lime Street, things like that. None of that was there before the capital culture, and I think that was like a real turning point for the city, because I remember as well the MTV Music Awards was that year, I think, and like they put it there because I think so, because I think it was like, I think they put like a load of events on because it was the capital of culture, and they were like attracting more like celebrities and more concerts and stuff. And I think the now M&S Bank Arena was the Echo Arena. I think that kind of attracted more big concerts and stuff. So there's more tourism coming in. It was such a weird thing though, because I said like when I started going out like in Liverpool, like partying in my youth and walking around the city in the daytime and stuff like that, there was nothing like that. Like, it's not like what it is now. The whole waterfront was different, and it was just such kind of like a underdeveloped city, I would have said, like in terms of city centre. But now it's like you said, a thriving thing. It's such a weird thing that like it's progressed so much as well. I don't know if it's down to like just the world progressing as well, and I don't know whether other cities have progressed at that rate. And I remember going to Manchester when I was sort of in my early 20s as well, and I used to think so much more well developed than Liverpool, but now it's like the gap is definitely shortened, I think.
So you've obviously been here because you've been in to see me a few times. After the Eurovision, have you not noticed like what's happened after Eurovision? You've got the likes of Taylor Swift making her music videos and stuff in the Liver building. She's got she's booked a concert in the Anfield Stadium for like February or March next year. All our Airbnbs now are fully booked, like straight away. Like, she's a big star, and all these people now are noticing Liverpool is like there's more to Liverpool than people sort of realised, and these big stars are realising as well. I just think that the city is going to blow up sort of within years, especially with obviously the Everton Stadium and all that. I mean, I don't know if it's just me being close to Liverpool now because I live here and dedicate my sort of business here or what, but I just think it's got great potential.
I love it, mate. I love it. Do you know, I heard something about that Taylor Swift thing. Like, apparently, the city have had to take out more police for that concert than, like, or like the Liverpool Champions League homecoming and all that kind of thing. Because she's that big in terms of, like, her personal brand and her sort of following of Taylor Swift fans is, like, so big now that they seem to just like shut down roads and stuff to like get people in, and they're worried about like the amount of people that are going to like converse on
But
the
she's
stadium
a
and stuff like
massive
that.
worldwide like star, isn't she? So I'm just thinking there's going to be, there's going to be obviously people in the city. There's people all over the world that's going to come see her. And don't forget, I think she's put put a stamp on
Yeah,
Liverpool for other artists. So I think there's going to be some big stars coming here.
totally agree with that. Totally agree with that. And it's going to be even bigger when the Everton Stadium opens down on the Bramley Moor dock. I mean, I drove past there the other day.
Isn't it? I
It's
hope you didn't take
absolutely
pictures,
huge.
Steve, because have you not read the signs on it? It says like you're not allowed to put post
I know, yeah.
pictures of it on social media or something. Who's going to stop that? Who polices that?
Really? I know, it's mad, isn't it? Mad. I mean, maybe you can tell me a bit more about this because you're probably closer to it than I am. When I drove down there and I drove past the stadium, for the life of me, I do not know. And I go to Everton, like I'm an Everton fan, so I'll be going to that stadium. I, for the life of me, can't figure out what the sort of like traffic system is going to be and the parking system is going to be from the city centre. I know it's only about half a mile walk from the dock to the Bramley Moor dock, from the Albert Dock to the Bramley Moor dock, but for the life of me, I can't figure out what match day is going to look like in terms of people walking down to that stadium because the whole dock road is going to be, you're not going to be able to drive down there. I don't know whether they're going to put like a tram system in or something or some sort of like loop system. I don't know, but I mean, I was trying to figure it out, and
haven't even
I don't
thought
know.
about that. But now you've mentioned it, it makes total sense because when you drive down there, there's nothing there, is there? Let's be honest. There's a couple of random pubs.
No.
Where are people going to stay? They're going to stay in the city or wherever. Yeah, there's going to be crazy traffic, isn't it?
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if you think about people getting a train from the Wirral or North Wales over to Liverpool for the match day, they're going to probably walk to the Albert Dock, maybe. As you said, there's a few random pubs, but not very many. But that half a mile walk from the city centre to the new stadium, maybe a mile at max, it's not. There's not much in between the two. And if you think like 50,000 people every week walking down that road, I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, they must have some sort of plan to like sort of navigate cars around and navigate
because I mean,
people around. I don't know.
There's still businesses. I mean, I don't know what's actually happening on that side of the docks, but there's scrap yards and there's obviously shipping containers and stuff. They can't close the road, can they? Surely.
No. They can't close it. I mean, I don't know. Like maybe they'll have like some sort of like shopping centre system or like underground parking or I don't know. I mean, I park at the moment up on Vauxhall Road, and when I put it in on Google Maps, it's still about a 35-minute walk from there down to the new stadium, which is further. But in terms of actual parking, I don't see anywhere else. Well, I couldn't see anywhere else where I could like realistically, logistically park.
There's an opportunity
getting
there,
a train
isn't it, for
over and
someone,
walking it.
whoever's got the big dollars, buy some land there and just do as parking.
Big time, 100%. I mean, even if you look at like, I mean, the amount of, I mean, this will probably be good for your business as well. I mean, the amount of tourism that's going to bring. I mean, the amount of concerts that stadium's going to hold on the waterfronts, and the amount of like different events and stuff. Like they were talking about WWE doing like a SummerSlam event there and stuff like that. Yeah, things like that. Yeah. So things like that, like outdoor stadium events, boxing events, UFC events, WWE, concerts. I mean, the amount of people it's going to attract into the city, which has a trickle-down effect onto businesses like ours, actually, to be fair. Me being in social media content stuff and yours being in service accommodation. I mean...
Well, I mean, every single one of our properties,
time, I think.
And we've got a lot of properties, just from Taylor Swift announcing that she's going to Anfield, they're all booked. I mean... It's unbelievable, and I didn't even know. Obviously, so we've got Amy who deals with all these bookings and stuff, and she was just saying to me, "Oh, the properties are booked for I can't remember if it's February or March." And I was like, "What's happening then? Is there a big game or something on?" Taylor Swift has come in for like a week, and she's absolutely she's helped our business massively for that month. Anyway, I know that. Yeah,
it's huge, isn't it? It's huge, isn't it? Apparently, she's on like track to become the highest selling artist of all time, I think, something like that.
Yeah.
Like the amount of albums she's selling. Weird. But yeah, but I got told, I actually heard about this. Liverpool is basically getting shut down for that week. It's like literally the city is going to be like pretty much locked down. Everywhere's going to be sold out. Everywhere's going to be just rammed to the rafters that week because she's bringing
I
that many.
wonder
She's
how
going to
many
bring that many fans over.
sort of people know about it, because I only know because I obviously deal with service accommodation. There's got to be business out there that might not know just yet, but they need to sort of be in preparation and get everything ready for that.
100%. It's such a massive value add, isn't it? If you got that much sort of pulling power for just people, I mean, the trickle down effect that it's going to have on that, it's going to be huge. But it makes you actually wonder, doesn't it? Because in terms of stadiums, Anfield isn't actually the biggest stadium. So surely if she's bringing that many people, like she could probably fill out
Well,
the stadium
to be fair,
double the size,
so
really.
I don't
probably
go
is,
to,
to be
I
fair.
want to go to more concerts, by the way, but I don't go into enough. But when you go to a concert, the artist is usually there for a day or two. I'm sure she's there for a good week, as in that's not usual in my eyes. You stay there for a week. It must be to compensate the size of the stadium.
Yeah, she must be doing it. I mean, the demand must be absolutely through the roof. So if she can sell that stadium out 3 or 4 times over in a week, then I mean, probably even more. To be fair, I mean, these artists they sometimes do like.
Well, the weird thing
every
is,
night,
so when she was doing her video, so I'm obviously looking at the live building, and so it was on the Lexington sort of social media. Everyone said, "Oh, look, she was doing it. Did anyone see her?" And now what you find is around the city, there's always people doing videos and stuff or films and that. And every time you just instantly think, who's in the city now? I mean, there's got to be some famous people in the city making films and stuff. I just don't know about it. I think that's bizarre in itself that they can keep it under wraps, do films and stuff, and no one knows. I think that's madness. Yeah.
It's mad, isn't it? What's the most bizarre thing that you've ever seen in the city in terms of like
Well, as in
people
that's
being
attracted a lot of people.
Yeah, like I remember in Port Sunlight, around where I live, they were filming an episode of Peaky Blinders, and that got like loads of attention because it's all Victorian housing and stuff in Port Sunlight. So it was like 1980s style early 1900s style Peaky Blinders. And when in the episode, you can see him walk out and he lies on the middle of the road, and it's literally.
How did you find out about that, though? Did you just see him?
Weird, I think it was just. I think I personally found out about it just on Facebook, basically, just scrolling through Facebook, and someone put on that someone was, but in that it wasn't like a public service announcement or anything like that.
I don't have social media, so I don't get updated. My partner updates me or anything, but I never see sort of crowds of people other than there's big festivals and stuff going on in Liverpool. That's the thing that brings a lot of people here. The weirdest group of people I think I've seen is Eurovision. You know, when they've gone mental with like the outfits and stuff that people walk around is a bit mental in Liverpool. It just felt a bit bizarre.
Yeah. I know we touched on that briefly before, but like, what kind of impact did that actually have on the city?
Liverpool are sort of holding on to it a bit too long. They're milking it a bit now, but obviously you can see the River Mersey. They put dyes and stuff in the water to make it obviously look a lot better. They just popped out like loads of just statues and stuff. And it just, you know what, it brought the vibe of Eurovision sort of a month or two before and sort of a month or two after was just, everyone was still buzzing. It was just a good atmosphere. And I honestly think it's done Liverpool such a good sort of, they've put like Liverpool a stamp on the map for everyone sort of worldwide now, because everyone knows about Liverpool, about the Beatles and stuff. And that's obviously gone on. People still come here for that. But I think there's more stuff now happening that are bringing even more people in. And I think Liverpool are really good at hosting stuff like that and getting involved in stuff like that really, really sort of well. Because when you were there, they closed the road down. Even the traffic management and everything here was just really good. Security and all that was just really good because we went sort of in. There was areas that they do like a free events and stuff. And I think it was just really well thought out. And like I say, most of the people there weren't from Liverpool. They come from around the world. I just think it's done a really good job. And I think Liverpool's going to have more of that sort of event style.
Yeah. I mean, that's one thing that I really love about the city is that when these things happen, the people of the city and people in the surrounding areas really take it up a notch compared to other cities, I've noticed. So when, like, I've been to other cities for things of that nature, and they don't make as much of a fuss of it as Liverpool does. I don't know why Liverpool is like that. I don't know why the people are like that. But when something comes to the city, it's almost like the appreciation that they're actually there, and that
Yeah,
maybe
maybe
because
the
they've been starved
underdogs
of it in the
type
past,
style,
I
isn't
don't
it?
know.
And now it's coming here.
But yeah. So they make it like the best thing ever, because I don't think, like, Eurovision is a great example. It was like the
Really?
highest rating Eurovision ever. Yeah, but I think that's because it was Liverpool. I don't think it would have had that effect in another city, which is like kind of like it's a great thing for Liverpool. But it says something about the kind of people Liverpool is attracting as well into the city, in terms of investment, businesses. I do a lot of work in Liverpool now. You do obviously all your work in Liverpool, which is great. And I've noticed that massively, which is like a really cool thing. One thing I wanted to ask you about as well, just digressing a little bit, is just going back to service accommodation. Typically, like, when people come, is it typically like long stays, or is it things like that? Is it like they come in for a weekend for a concert and then stay over for a few days, or they might have like I don't know, like a weekend away with their friends or whatever it is? What kind of like sort of time frame and sort of, what's the word, like a time frame that they stay in, but also I can't think of the word really. Like what's the sort of the reason why people would go into service accommodation?
Well, it's quite hard to answer that question, only because we've got a massive like variety of properties, from like studios to like 5-bedroom houses. That's from the city centre to the outskirts of like Egberts and Alton and stuff. So it varies massively. But what we've realised is no one really stays for more than a week, and most people sort of come here from travelling. The bigger houses are booked out from families that haven't got big houses to sort of do gatherings and stuff. But yeah, it's just a massive variety. And what we try and do is we try and get contractors and people in, so they book through the week, and we've got more of a commitment through them. And what the beauty of that is, they stay in the week, and then on the weekends it's free to anyone to sort of book out for the weekends. So that is like the ideal situation, is our contractors staying in the week and then leaving. We have it for the weekend to rent it out to the general public, and then on Monday again they're back in doing work. So yeah, we do get a lot of one night bookings, and a lot of last minute bookings as well, which in the service accommodation world is quite controversial, because people are massively saying, I wouldn't let anyone stay here if they book the same day, or we do a minimum of 2 nights. And our reasoning is just thinking, why? People are paying for it. You've got the insurances in place. You've got deposits and everything. We don't really understand the people's sort of problem with it. So it actually makes our business get more bookings. So you know what? Delete that bit. Don't let anyone know the secrets.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, I suppose it's a great differentiator for you guys as well.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Compared
because
to
you
other people.
basically open it up to a bigger market.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's not, from what I can see. I mean, I don't know the industry that well, but I mean, it's the same with any business, though, isn't it? It's like, if you can differentiate yourself and make yourself open to a bigger market, so it's only
Because
going to
people
benefit.
do
Really.
get into niches, don't they? But I think the niche is already sort of, service accommodation is already a niche. You niche it down even more. I think there's a certain point of how much you can niche something down before it just becomes too niche, almost.
Yeah. 100%. I've seen loads of people do that. I mean, with niche, the metaphor I always use for niche is, imagine like an egg timer, which you turn up and down. It's like the most sort of stuff in the egg timer is at the top, and when you flip it over, it seeps into this like short, small thing.
Yeah.
If it becomes too niche, it becomes blocked. That egg timer becomes blocked. But if you can get a small niche which is expansive, actually it goes through that small niche but into this bigger area and a bigger market. That's what the metaphor I always use. But like you are right, I've seen so many people do it where they niche themselves down so much
to get the clients.
That that's it. Yeah, 100%. And I've done that myself, actually. When you niche yourself down so much, you do isolate a lot of people. But at the same time, if you do it right, you niche, even though you are going for a more specific thing, or a specific person or a specific industry, whatever it is, it becomes bigger in the sense that you are only targeting them people. So your sort of level of service can get bigger based on that group of people. And I think for any business, it's just about finding something that is specific but big enough to actually,
That's probably one thing
sustain the
that I need
business
to
and
say
grow it.
to
Actually,
you. So obviously your audience of when we hired you to do our jobs, you actually sat down and we had this conversation and stuff that you don't always get, do you? And it's quite good sometimes to have a chat with someone from the outside of the business coming in. I'm going to chat with you because you obviously know our business quite well now. But you're able to sort of open our minds a bit more, which you don't always get from sort of other services. So that's probably one thing that you need to let your audience know.
Yeah. I mean, thanks for saying that. I appreciate that. And it's one of them things, isn't it, where like for me being in social media content, I really want people to do well in terms of business from social media. Like it's what I live for. It's like my business lives and breathes that stuff. So it's all well and good me creating the content and how just I could turn up with a camera to most people and just be like, let's just film. Like you know your stuff, so let's just do it. But actually, when it comes to creating the ideas, creating the ecosystem for content to have longevity, to hit the right notes with people, to get in front of the right people, it takes more than just getting in front of the camera speaking.
Obviously, from when we first met, the questions you asked me was, so who's your audience and all this? And I was like, don't know. Can you help me? And you were just like, your smile on your face was just like, yes, I want to help.
That's it. Yeah, it likes me up, mate. Yeah, honestly, it does, and I love that stuff because it's. I always think that the attitude I always take is, you and Amy, for example, know your business better than I do. It's my job not to tell you what to do because you know that I don't know that stuff. You're the best at it. You're the authority in that thing. My job is to get all that gold from inside you outside and tell people about it.
That's it, yeah.
Like, because it's already there.
When you
just about
your business,
pulling out.
Because this is one of the things I always have a discussion with a lot of my friends and stuff, or business owners. So when you started your business, how much of the business that you thought that you would be doing is actually what you do? So I'm saying it's a bit confusing the way I'm saying it, but for an example, social media, you know me, I'm rubbish at social media. Amy's great, she loves it. But when I got into this business, that was one of the things that I did not expect to have to know. That's why obviously we got someone like yourself involved in it to sort of help us. What about you? How did you feel about that sort of?
Yeah, exactly the same, to be fair, mate. I mean, I look at it and go, when you look at business principles, you look at ideal clients, you look at target markets, you look at niches, you look at audience expansion, you look at service delivery, you look at the sales pipeline from content marketing to service. So to expand on that a little bit, if you put a piece of content out, then someone contacts you and then you have a sales call with them and then they come and stay in one of the properties and then you deliver that service to them. That's a pipeline, right? And building that out and understanding that and all that stuff. The principle kind of stays the same for any business, right? Like my business, your business, any business, we can create that for any business. But it's not as simple as that. Like to give people a bit of context, people know this, probably listen to this podcast, but I was an online coach. I was in the fitness industry for a long time. And when I started doing video stuff, I thought I'm going to take the same principles and I'm going to apply them and it's going to be the same thing and we'll have success in video. Little did I know much about the video industry. It's not just a case of rocking up to people and putting a camera in front of the face and telling them to speak. It's not that. There's more to it. So the iterations of my service that I've had over the last 2 or 3 years have been massive. I mean, I started out with a program called Social Powerhouse. Then it went to a program called Creative Impact, which all served a purpose at the time. And I stand by them things, but they just weren't the perfect fit for everyone. Now I've iterated in something called Social Media Pro, which is like a real proper, I know I can deliver them outcomes for people. And it's the same for anything, right? Like it takes a long time to hit that right note with people and get it exactly right to the point where you're like, you as a business owner, me as a business owner are really sort of satisfied with our service and really proud to deliver it. But at the same time, give someone a great experience. And Like I thought when I started, it was just going to be turning up and putting a camera in front of someone's face and doing it. But now it's like this whole massive thing, and it's like that thing of like, I wish I knew then what I know now and all that. But it's just a learning process. It's just one of them things that you learn along the way. And if I'd have started doing what I'm doing now 3 years ago, I'd probably make a lot more money. Probably would have made a lot more money, had a lot more clients, and a lot better results. But it's a learning process the whole time. And I think if, as business owners, if we can embrace that learning process rather than just being like, oh, well, that didn't work, fucking it's not working, I'm going to go do something else. I mean, I think I've got a client who's in the construction industry, and he said for every 7 people that leave the construction industry, only 1 is coming in.
Yeah.
Which is mad, you know. And and it's the same thing. It's like people will give up at the thing. It's, oh, it's not working, I'm not making enough money, I've got to go and do something else to make the money. And it's like, embrace that learning process, embrace that creative thing of like, I've got this thing, I know it's a value to people, I know I've got something in me that I can deliver, which is a value. How can I take that and harness it into something amazing that makes a lot of money for us, but has a great impact on people and gives people a great experience? And if you can do that, I think your business will leave people in a lot better place than where they started before they came to you. And that's how you get word of mouth, that's how you get referrals, that's how you get better social proof in terms of like reviews and Trustpilot reviews and testimonials, all that stuff. And then your business grows and grows and grows. Now, if you look at that on a time expansion of 5-10 years, you're going to be like, oh, can't believe how far we came in 5-10 years. But on a day-to-day basis, it's frustration and it's setbacks and it's a pain in the arse and it's
you've got to know that,
dealing with shit all the time.
That's the thing, though, isn't it? Because I've said this: you can do 10, like have your to-do list, and let's say there's 20 things on it, and you just tick off 3 things. You get frustrated with yourself, don't you, straight away? But what I've realized now is if I focus on the right 3 things from that 20 list, it pushes my business forward so much more than if I just sort of concentrated on the other sort of 17 stuff. You've just got to know what to focus your time on. Yeah. But you also, another point is that I always say is, you know, when you go through sort of your learning process now, you say, oh, if I knew now what I knew, if you knew then what you knew, yeah. But when people say to you, basically when people say to me, oh, that's a mistake, you need to do it this way or whatever, I always feel like sometimes you've got to make your own mistakes for it to actually sink in, and you've got to go through that learning process. You can't start at like me in the future. You can't start there. You've got to grow to get there, because I think you'll do a much better job at it. It's a slow process, starting businesses, isn't it? But fucking hell, it's frustrating and all that, but 100%. I love it. I absolutely love it. But it's interesting. Yeah, 100%. It's interesting what you said about the construction side as well, because I've obviously left the construction side. I know a lot of my mates have left now, but it's I didn't realize that was like the statistics of like 1 leaves from 7 leaves.
Yeah, it's like same with the fitness industry as well. It's like hemorrhaging workers, but not many people coming in.
I thought that fitness was the opposite.
Which is such a weird.
Are they not?
Yeah, it's well. The top, it's like the same thing, isn't it? It's like the top end of the industry does really well. The bottom end is just hemorrhaging people. So if you can get to the top end of the industry, you can do really, really well. 100%. Same in any industry. If you don't do that and you make it to like, even like, you know, if you're working, for example, in the evening till 9 o'clock every night and getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning, and you're making all right money, but not much money. Yeah. But you can go work in an office 9 to 5 and make double the money. It's like, it's such like a weird.
Who's in the room, Steve?
It's such a weird.
I can just see your head just turning.
My mum, so yeah, it's such a weird thing. It's such like a bizarre, such a bizarre thing, because you think to yourself, it's such a thriving thing, but actually, it's hemorrhaging people and good workers as well, and it's because they can't make enough money doing it. That can't be
the construction. So
it's just because they can't make enough
from the construction industry. You make a lot of money in construction, even from sort of the lower end of sort of trainees and stuff. You make good money in construction. But I'm interested. Yeah. I'm sort of trying to.
If you look at the pain points of them people out, like if you get someone doing an apprenticeship and they're not getting the support from one of the workers, and they hate going to work, and they might be getting all the shitty jobs because they're just an apprentice, and they can't do the more advanced jobs and not learning what they're doing in a college, say, in the actual field, and they're making 200 quid a week, and it's not very, sustainable, and it's going to be 3-4 years before you make a decent money where you can buy a house, for example, and you might be in their early 20s. Straight away, they're thinking to themselves, I don't want to wait 4 years doing this shit job.
Well,
I need to get out and
what
start
would you
by
advise
myself.
people to do that?
My
Because
boss is
I
making
reckon there's
all
a
the
lot
money.
of that. I didn't even really think about that. But I know from the apprentice side, back in the day, from the apprentice, it was a good apprenticeship. So the employee would get paid to take someone on, and they'd do a really good job on like training them up because it was a good thing for them. Now it's almost like, oh, can you just take my son on for apprenticeship, whatever? And then they just do it because they feel like they have to. And that's happened now is the quality of trades out there now, I feel it's dipped a bit, and it's affecting quality of houses and everything, I think. So, when you see houses like hundreds of years old, especially in Liverpool, still quite solid, there's a bit of movement, but I feel like the new builds now, I'd be interested to see what state they're in about 100 years.
Yeah, it's mad. Honestly, it's totally mad. I mean, my client Jay, he's because people like us, right? Naturally, as we get a bit older and we have a bit of success and we go through all the trials and tribulations of it, and we start seeing the fruits of our labour, let's say, what happens is we take on naturally more of a mentorship role, more of like I've noticed this since I had the baby as well. Naturally, you start to take on become a more fatherly figure and become more of a mentor and a coach. And you can say, right, I've had these experiences now and I've came through the other end and I'm better for it. This is why you see people like go through mental health stuff and trials and tribulations in the personal life, and then you come out the other end and they're in a better place and they can help other people doing the same thing. I've got a client, Jay, who's in the construction industry. He's been through all that crap, started his own business, took all the knocks, learned all the lessons. He's now 39 and he's setting up a program for young people coming out of apprenticeships who want to learn invoicing and learn how to network with people and how to price jobs better and how to get relationships with suppliers and do all that stuff which they should be learning but aren't included in the normal like sort of building apprenticeships, and creating a program for them people who are going through this thing, which is probably lots of people. Well, it is lots of people because we researched it, and he's going to give them a platform to do that stuff, right? So with every thing that people struggle with, there's an opportunity there to actually start something out of it.
That sounds amazing.
Opportunity,
well done to your mate Jay that's starting that, because that sounds amazing.
Yeah. So I mean, it started off as an idea. I'm not joking. It's got legs to be an absolute monster. This thing, but it's the same thing with me and you, right? Like, I do social media content. I can become so good and so efficient at doing social media content, and so good at video editing and videography and coaching that stuff. I can be like, I'm not there yet, but I can become so good at that I could set up something that people would be like, I need to follow that guy because he's done everything that, like, he was me 3 or 4 years ago. He's just 3-4 years ahead of me. Same with you in your game. You become that person. If someone's thinking about getting into service accommodation, well, Orange Rentals have had a great success. I'm going to model their business because they've done it right. They've been through all the shit that we've been through, that we're going to go through and are going through, and they could probably help us come out the other end. And if you've got something there to go, I can help you with this. I know that pain. I know them problems because I've been through them and I've come out the other end, and these are the lessons I've learned. There's big opportunity there for all sorts of businesses.
You sort of need to realize as well, as a business owner and someone like constantly like growing as a person, and your personality and sort of strengths is. So me now, I think I'm just this daft lad from North Wales that still done a successful business, but it just happened by luck. But when you actually speak to people that are sort of not where you are, and they ask the questions, and you just know the answers straight away. You just know the answers, and you can go on for ages. And that's when they look at you and sort of say, "Oh, I want to be more like you." That's the reason. That's like the realization for me to say, "Fucking hell, I have grown a lot. I do know what I'm talking about." It's that like, what was it called? The imposter syndrome, isn't it? You don't think that you're that good, but when you actually speak to people, you've got to have them to sort of say, I want to learn from you because you know what you're doing. Yeah,
100%, and that's why the coaching space, online coaching, course coaching, all that space is so thriving now with the introduction of AI, which we're going to get onto in a minute. I mean, do all that stuff. The whole coaching industry is absolutely booming. It's bigger than ever, and being in the coaching space in any form, whether it's online coaching, fitness coaching, social media coaching, service development, service accommodation coaching, property coaching, whatever it is, there's massive opportunity in any of them spaces because there'll always be someone else behind you coming into it, just starting out. And it's the simple things, right? So something simple for me might be like, how do you frame a video shot for social media? It's like, to me, that's just a standard thing that I do every day. It's nothing special. But to someone coming in, it's
that's
like,
what I mean. So
hell,
you've learned it without really realizing how good
And
you are. You just think you're the same person as you were 20 years ago, but you're not. You've fucking grown so much and grown a business and stuff.
Exactly. 100%. I mean, I remember when I first started out and I started on social media, my content was like, oh, I've got this thing. If you want to come along, just come at 6:30. That was it. Like, that was my marketing. It was so shit when I look back. But if you look at it compared to what it is now, it's like, you would never think I was that guy 10 years ago. I remember you telling me the story about
that, of like how you started and stuff. Because obviously you had to talk us through getting confident on camera and stuff. And when you said to me, oh, I used to be the same as you, that's when you're like, oh, really? So you can get better. It's them little chats, in it, that you need to help other people.
Yeah. And it's actually just showing people that as well. It's like, because, you know, when you naturally go through that stuff, you become an authority in that area. Even if you don't see yourself that way, you are that way because you've just been through it, you know, and it's the same with anything. It's the same in personal life. It's the same in professional life. And because you've been through it, people look at you and go, I need guidance. And naturally, as you do get a bit older and you do have that little bit of success, it's the natural order to give back, right? It's like the things that my dad taught to me, I'll teach to my son. And it's like when you have kids, and I've got a kid now, and it's that moment in the car when you catch yourself saying something to your kid, it's like, shit, I'm my dad now.
I am my dad now, yeah.
Like, I'm literally like, I am my dad, what he was doing to me, right? And naturally you just take that role on, and it's like, okay, I am in that position now, but there's an opportunity there business-wise to actually go, do you know what, I could have a big impact there. And naturally you will get to that point, and I think most people do get to that point, to be fair. And this is why you see like really wealthy people and really successful business owners actually giving back a lot to young people in the industry. And you see them setting up big programs and stuff like that. So yeah, happy days. Just on that note, by the way, and I asked this question to everyone. AI, what's your opinion on AI, and how does it think it'll affect your industry going forward?
It's brilliant. I've started reading into AI and stuff. I'm reading the blogs. I've just downloaded an ebook. I think AI is the future, and the same as everyone else that knows about AI. If you're not learning about AI now, you're going to be that old person that can't use a phone today. That's what's going to happen. You need to get onto it. And most of my business is actually automated through AI and stuff now. And it saves so much money and time that you've got to remember that you're probably, well, if you're the same as me, I'm in business to make money to live a happy life. My happy life is traveling stuff. To do that, you need time. So AI has given me the tools to release more time for me to do my job really, really well and still do what I want to do. But yeah.
I love that. Do you think it'll disrupt jobs within your sector?
I haven't even thought about that. I'm sort of trying to ignore that question, aren't I?
Do you know what? Like for me, like to give a bit of context on that, I thought video would be sort of one of the lower priority things for AI, but I've started implementing AI in my video editing processes and social media processes now. It is unbelievable what it's doing. It is mind-blowingly good, and it's only just starting. It's honestly like editing this podcast that we're doing now originally would have took me maybe 3, 4, 5 hours, when I'd have to sift through it and I'd have to go through the whole process and frame it and cut in different places. Literally, it's doing it in about 10 seconds.
Steve, hang on.
The whole process of editing now. I mean,
Is that okay?
come on.
I'm just doing a podcast. Sorry, I'll give you a shout in a minute when I'm done. It won't be long. Sorry, Steve.
No, it's all right, mate. Yeah, like literally, what was taking me like a 3, 4, 5 hour process now
Has it
taking
cut
me
it
20
down
seconds.
that much? Is it?
Now it's not so. Yeah. Some of them are unbelievable. I mean, even like cutting out silences and cutting out ums and ahs and things like that. It's just doing it in a flash. It's ridiculous. Now it's not so advanced that it's replacing me as an editor. I mean, someone couldn't go in and just do it themselves in 20 seconds. There's still an element of artistry to editing, like photography or any other creative endeavor. But it's helping and assisting the process with ease. And but the scary part is it's only just starting. This is
amazing.
This is like the formation of it. And I think you are right what you say. If you don't embrace it, if you don't get it on board with it now, you are going to be the old guy, the old grumpy guy who doesn't know how to use anything.
Why would you put yourself in that position when you can just gradually sort of just get into it now? What do you reckon? What industry do you reckon it's going to disrupt and get rid of the most?
I think it's not gonna. It'll only disrupt an industry if the person becomes too lazy to let it affect the job. If that makes sense. So, for example, if you're a video editor like me and you become lazy and just let AI do your job for you, then it will take your job. Because there's going to be other video editors that embrace AI and teach AI and become absolute experts in AI that will make all the money. And then, so it won't disrupt video editing, for example. Just using that as an example, it won't disrupt video editing for the people who embrace video editing and embrace AI for it. The people who are like, no, I'm an old school video editor and I don't want to use any AI and their jobs will go. So if someone's job gets disrupted, I think it'll be their own fault that it's got disrupted.
Am I right in saying that
they haven't kept up with
teaching this in not school but university? No.
I think that it's going to have to be. I think there's going to have to be some sort of regulation. I think it's going to overhaul the whole school system in terms of like. Remember when we were in school, we'd obviously do our exams, we'd get our results, sit a 2-hour exam, whatever. Happy days. I think that's going to be prehistoric soon.
They're going to have to embrace it, aren't they? They're going to have to say, write an essay, use AI if you want. Do you know what I mean? They're going to have to.
Yeah. Because if you look at it, I think there was this thing that ChatGPT passed like the American bar exam for medical school. So, I mean, you can't have something where I could qualify as a doctor in America.
Yeah. You know what I've noticed as well? So I've got a few friends that do like content creation. Not content creation, it's like copywriting stuff, like blogs and stuff. And so Amy went on one of the courses, and one of the things that they said was, if you use AI to do your blogs and stuff, Google will know this and it will rank you lower. And I said to Amy, I don't believe that, because I've read and listened to interviews of. So there's a guy that has the world's biggest blog website, and he says literally on the podcast, I don't even know which ones I've done by AI. I don't know what percentage of my business is AI and whatnot. But for people to say, yeah, Google will be able to know that, it's not going to take over like the jobs of copywriters and stuff. I think they're just trying to. I think it's a bit of a myth, and it's trying to put people off the scent for now. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think in terms of the down regulation that you said about Google, I think it might be a case where Google brings out its own AI, and if you're not using the Google AI, it might like down regulate.
But how would they be able to know that you've used another AI?
I personally, I don't know the ins and outs of like algorithms and stuff like that. So I kind of agree with you that how would they know? Like but I'm not one of them guys who are like a high level code guy or anything like that. I do think it's quite interesting what you said about copywriters though. Like copyright is probably one of the most vulnerable professions, because if I put into ChatGPT now, write me a 10,000 word blog on social media coaching, it would spit something out that is coherent at least. it probably wouldn't be something as good as I can write myself or as specific as what I could write myself. But if I learn the instructions and I learn the right prompts to put in to create that, as it gets more advanced, it's going to be more and more and more
Well, they say, don't they,
likable to
it's
my
going to be
voice.
you're going to obviously pay
Which
them.
is,
I mean, I use ChatGPT. They're saying they're going to be, they're going to understand who you are and how you write and stuff. Obviously, you got to upload stuff into it, and then it's going to write as you are.
100%. Yeah, so 100%. So I think on the plus version now, you can like put links in for like social media channels and be like, do us a favor, scan this social media channel. I want you to use the tone and voice of this social media channel. I want you to summarize all the posts, all the copywriting on it, all the visuals and graphics on it, and create me a content plan. Now, I used to, like, in my former versions of my program, I used to sit down and I would literally go through Google spreadsheets of content ideas and plans and strategies for clients and sit down with them for hours on end and do it all. Now ChatGPT can do it in a couple of minutes if you put the right prompts in. Now, I could beat myself up about that and be like, oh no, it's took away one of my fucking services and it's going to put me out of work, or I can embrace it and include that in my service and make it better.
Embrace it, understand what it can do, and make it help your business.
Because if you don't embrace it, what's going to happen? It's not. You're not going to stop it. Yeah, you're not going to stop it. So what would you rather? Would you rather? I mean, in my case, would I rather sit there for 3 hours with a client? Would you sit there with me for 3 hours doing a whole content strategy for your business and breaking everything down when we could literally just sit on ChatGPT and bang it out and be like, and then ChatGPT is not perfect, so it might spit out stuff that's like pretty rubbish, and you'd be like, right, we can get rid of that. That's pretty good. That's pretty rubbish. That's pretty good. Keep that in, and we can figure out in a couple of minutes what works and what doesn't, rather than sitting there and testing everything and A/B testing everything and putting different content out to see what works and what doesn't. It's like, come on, like, So the question becomes then not will AI assist me in doing what I'm doing? It's, or will it put me out of work? That's not the question you should be asking. It's how can I use the tools available to me to make my service the best it can be? Because one thing that AI will never be is human. It won't be human. So, speaking for me, if I want service accommodation, I come and speak to you guys. I'm not going to speak to a bot about it.
You wouldn't go with it if someone had a bot and another business had a personal person.
But that's not to say that you can't use bots and automations and AI to help your business.
This like funnel and stuff.
Yeah,
you automate all that, because one thing that I've started doing is, well, this is how I started. It was through my business. Everything that I do, what do I not enjoy? Whatever I don't enjoy, how can AI help me? Things that I enjoy, don't get AI to help you, because you're taking enjoyment out of your business.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly right. So every month now I do an evaluation of my business and say, right, okay, where does most of my time getting spent, and where do I want to spend most of my time? So I want to spend most of my time editing content. I love editing content, and I love doing podcasts. So that's what. So doing this with you, I love doing this stuff. I love having conversations with people. I love getting to know people. I love building relationships with people. I love that stuff. So I want to do all that. So all the other stuff that I don't like as much, how can I use them tools to help me do less of that stuff and do more of this stuff? So in theory, I could do 5, 6, 7 podcasts a week now, and I'd still have the time because AI's allowing me to do that. Whereas originally I was only able to do 1 or 2 podcasts a week. So actually my time is now delegated a lot better because of AI, which is cool, really.
Do you think that everyone knows about AI and uses it? Because, so what you've got to realize is most of the people that the likes of you and I speak to now, I'd like to think me personally anyway, I've not upped the level, because that's not nice to some people, but you surround yourself with people, like-minded business owners and stuff, and everyone knows about AI. Do you reckon that the people that does like the 9-to-5 jobs and stuff, do you reckon they fully understand AI? And no, I think that's there's madness.
No, I think it's
do you reckon they ignore it
scary in a way?
They want to know?
I mean, the average person goes to work at 9 o'clock, comes home at 5 o'clock, and just does the bare minimum enough not to get sacked. Basically, they just do the job. They don't do any more than what the job is required, and sometimes they do less, but just the bare minimum not to lose the job basically. And they're quite happy to do that and just get the nice wage every month, just live the nice life, not much ambition about improving the life that much, and that's okay. That's their choice. But they're never going to go out the way to, use AI. But there'll come a time, for example, when they want to order a pizza from Just Eat, but actually you can say, right, you can put into AI something like, I'm having a party tonight and I've got 10 people coming around and I want to order 6 pizzas and I want to order 3 crates of beer and 4 bottles of wine, but 2 of them are allergic to onions. People don't like, a few of them don't like mushrooms. Can you just order it and deliver it at 7 o'clock? AI, you can say that to AI. It will then create that order and then someone will deliver it to you.
Is that in place now or is that in the future?
Yeah, so for example, Domino's Pizza I don't know whether it's been released or they are releasing it. So they're having an AI extension where you can prompt what ingredients you want on your pizzas, all that kind of stuff. Or it automates to the wherever your local Domino's Pizza is. They deliver that order at the time allocated.
So you can say like, "Oh, my mates,"
and it's all through AI
and all that.
Yeah, you could say like, Alexa, can you order me a Domino's Pizza for 7 o'clock with onions and pepperoni and jalapenos, but I'm allergic to this type of cheese and I don't really like Pepsi Max, so can you just give me something else? And it basically will, like AI will do its thing, ping it to the local Domino's, and then there'll be some sort of like deposit for paying rather than
sounds
you pulling
amazing,
your credit card out.
But there is a bit of doubt in me that thinks, as a nation, we're going to become dumber, lazier.
We are becoming dumber and lazier, 100%. 100% we're becoming dumber. But that's not AI's fault. That's our fault. Because there is a part of, I love AI and I use AI every day. But there is part of me that does like to get my brain stimulated and think problem solve hard. So, for example, a good example of this is if you read a book and you really get into the book and it's really valuable to you and you're learning something on every page, that's going to be hard work. It's going to get your brain working and that's good for you, right? It's like doing a bicep curl is good for you in terms of building your muscle. Like reading books is good for your brain muscle and getting that stimulated. I can put into ChatGPT, what's a good example? I want you to summarize the book Atomic Habits for me by James Clear, and I want you to put it into 10 actionable points for me. It will spit it out. So straight away, I don't have to read that book anymore. I can just get a 10 actionable step breakdown from that book in 10 seconds.
Because I love reading, but also that sounds amazing as well.
So I read a book lately called Launch. It's about launching products from social media. It's called Launch by Jeff Walker, like multi-millionaire guy. Great book. But I couldn't remember everything in the book, and then I listened to it on Audible when I drove to London for a shoot, and so I listened to it the whole way, and it was great, and I really got into it, and listened to it on the way back. So when I got home, like a few days later, I was like going through the launch sequence, and I was like, oh, I can't remember that, and I was like, so putting ChatGPT. I recently read the book Launch by Jeff Walker. Can you give me a small breakdown of each step that I need to take based on that book?
Was it good stuff? Was it like, seconds. Do you remember reading it when he like?
Really good stuff. Yeah. Just stimulated the mind, done it. And then the next prompt after that was, okay, can you expand on each point for me so I've got a clear breakdown of what I need to do? The next point on that was, can you tell me how I can do that via social media? Can you tell me how I can do that in my content? It was like mind-blowingly good, but it took all that mental stimulation away from me, which I don't think is a good thing.
Everyone's depressed these days anyway, aren't they? I mean, I've gone through it myself. I've been on antidepressants and stuff.
Yeah. How do you make someone dumb? By
taking away all
depressed.
Yeah.
Take everything. Yeah. How do you make someone unfit? Take the gym away from them. Don't give them any options. How do you make someone comfortable? Take any responsibility away from them. You know, these things that giving people responsibility, making people learn stuff in a tangible way, making people, if you can pass exams by using ChatGPT, why would you go and revise the exam when revising the exam is obviously better
Yeah,
for
I
you?
don't know what's going to happen to the world. You've actually made me scared.
No, but it's one of them things that, I mean, we're in the sort of like the infancy of it at the moment, and it is kind of scary. Like, there's no way around that. It is kind of scary, but it's only scary if you let that happen. Like, I'm going to consciously go out and read books rather than.
But I like the idea that you've
letting
got
myself
to
just
read
get
the
lazy.
book and then have AI to summarize it for you after. That's a good way to do it.
Yeah, 100%. But I could just go, okay, I can't be bothered reading that book. Just give me a breakdown of it. It's like, I don't get any context around it. I just get the nuggets, but the nuggets don't mean anything if I haven't read the book.
The nugget only sort of sticks when you've got a story behind it, doesn't it, from reading the book?
Yeah. So, like, for example, if I wanted to change my career now and get into service accommodation with you guys, I'm going to have to learn the whole thing, right? So, like, if I put into ChatGPT, like, give me a breakdown of how I learn service accommodation, it would give me something. Whereas if I went to you guys and done in-field work with you every day, it's going to be hard work. It's going to take longer, but it's going to be much better for me.
I hope that doesn't happen, that people can just learn it.
I think it's an opportunity, though, like, because for the likes of me and you, we're embracing it, and we're going to get the benefits out of it, whatever happens. We won't let ourselves suffer as a result of AI. We're going to accelerate our business because of AI, whereas some other people won't do that, and then they'll get left, and they're the ones that'll be moaning and kicking and screaming about it later down the line. Well, we'll be like, well, you should have embraced it. You should have listened to us at the start.
Well, it's interesting. AI, you can talk about AI all day, though, can you? Especially with the likes of, I imagine that the likes of Elon Musk.
Oh yeah. I mean, some of the stuff it's doing, some of the stuff it is doing.
Because what we know is only like the tip of the iceberg, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it's like I go down. I'm a bit of a space geek, so I go down these like rabbit holes about like outer space and like the galaxy and stuff like that. And this analogy that a scientist made. It's like if you took all the oceans in the world, like all the oceans put together, and then you got a coffee cup and just scooped like one cupful of water out, and you looked at it. That's the amount of space that we've explored compared to the whole ocean. That's the comparison, right? And it's the same thing with AI. It's like we've probably scooped that cup and looked at AI as one cup, but the power of it is like the whole oceans together, which is like such a scary sort of analogy, but an exciting one if you look at it. It depends, doesn't it?
I'm going to use it for my business today and forever. I mean, it'd be stupid not to.
I mean, to give you an idea as well, like I've got a program called Social Media Pro, which has some AI involved in it now, in terms of what we learn. Now, I'm actually, this is public knowledge, like, so I'm not hiding anything here. Like, the price of that program is going up. Now, because it's going up, I wanted to create something which was like mid price point. So let's say, for example, it's $997 for the Social Media Pro course. I need to give $997's worth of value, right? So between my free content and $997, that's quite a big jump for someone. So what I wanted to do was create something which was like maybe £200-300, kind of like a small step for someone to take, small investment for someone to make, that can give them a platform to go on to the next level of my program. And it's called Social Media Sprint. Now, what the Social Media Sprint is a 30-day challenge. You don't get any one-to-one with me, but it's all automated online. You get a challenge every day that you can do to implement and use your social media and content, which will improve and help get you clients from social media. Happy days. I used AI to create the whole thing.
Bloody hell.
Yeah. Now, I've still got to go out and I've still got to film the tutorials. I can't do that by myself. I've still got to do the video trainings. I've still got to edit it all properly, and I've got to make it look good and sell it right. But AI have basically given me all the lesson plans, all the resources, told me exactly what to do. And I've basically got a step-by-step breakdown of what to do, which is fantastic, because I've eliminated what I think works well, what I think it won't work well, and I've kept stuff in and improved on stuff that I think will work well. That is unbelievable.
How much time do you reckon that saved you?
Like, it is unbelievable. I reckon that's probably saved me on the front end
It's a lot.
20 hours
Yeah.
of work. Yeah. And then the actual filming process on it and writing the scripts, and that's probably saved me another 10, 15, 20 hours. So all in all, it's probably saved me 2 days work, like 2 full 24-hour days work. So in terms of working days, it's probably saved me a week's worth of work.
If you use it properly, you can't it?
Yeah. Now that's help. That's an example of how it's helped my business.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There is an argument to say, has it helped me though? Because it's made it easier for me. Is it give me that mental stimulation to actually create the stuff? Is it took away my creativity?
Well, it's created in another way, I think.
In some
because
ways,
now you've got to be creative of how you can use AI to help your business. That's a different way of sort of creativity.
100%. So if I take a beautiful picture of the Liver buildings, and it's a beautiful framed picture, and I put it into Photoshop, and then I click a button, and AI does its thing, and it makes it the best color, the best framed picture ever, and it's just one button click. That's amazing, right? That's unbelievable technology. But what it's taken away my creative process of making that picture look amazing myself. Which is,
but don't forget
it's a double-edged sword, isn't it?
At the beginning was you can choose what to use AI on, can't you? So it's your choice to click that button or not, though, isn't it? Or is the fear of someone else is doing it the easier way? Do you know what I mean? It's up to you how you want to use it, though, isn't it?
Exactly right. So I think in terms of like, for my own personal use, it'd probably be better for me to just use my own creative instincts to do it. In terms of a service, if you had 2 people like me doing photography and video for you, and you could get all your stuff back in 2 hours versus a day,
exactly.
What you're going to pick? You're going to choose to get it back in 2 hours, and that's the sort of tricky part of it, right? It's just really tricky. I used to spend about 16 hours a week, I would say, editing podcasts and videos for people. That process is probably down to 4 or 5 hours now.
So I mean,
through AI, which is a massive benefit to me because I'm saving loads of time, and it's a massive benefit to my clients because they're getting all that stuff back quicker, which is weird. And I can grow the business and can focus on other stuff, and I can also have more time off if I want to. If I want to go away a bit more, I can. It's massive, but at the same time, will it become so good that it kind of eliminates the need for it and people can just do it themselves?
I always think there's always going to have to be a person that controls the AI to tell them the initial prompts and stuff, isn't it? Yeah, it just means that you can. It means that you can run a business I think should have 30 people with maybe 5 or 10, isn't it?
Exactly. Exactly. So there will be job losses in that sense, I think. But then people have got to, if they learn it and become so valuable on it, they won't get made redundant. So, I've heard stuff like there's going to be like government, like universal payments for people because they won't be in work and get like a minimum wage salary just through the government because they can't afford to. Like companies don't have enough.
I don't think that will ever happen. There's always opportunities.
I can't see
people will employ people.
Exactly. With every new innovation, there's opportunity. Like people said this about when tractors came out on farms, it's like, oh, it's going to make people redundant because they're not in the field anymore. And like if I've been made redundant 3 times in my career through different industries, and I've always came back.
It's more of like it's more about you and your mindset more than anything else. But if the government says stuff like that, imagine if the government said to you, you can sit on your ass all day and we'll pay you minimum wage. There's got to be a lot of people that says, yeah, go on in, I'll just do that. Do you know what I mean? They're the people that I'm just like, well, fair enough, if that's what you want to do.
Yeah. I mean, me as a person, though, I just get fucking bored. And like, idle hands make devil's work and all that kind of thing. Like, I don't know. It's a really sort of within a time in the world now where there's a lot of uncertainty. There's a lot of unease. There's touched on this briefly, but like mental health stuff, things like physical health, ease for people. Everything's just becoming so easy for people, which is again, you can debate whether that's a good or bad thing. I mean, all this stuff that's happening, well, we're in a real time now where either the gap is going to become smaller and people to really take themselves up a level, or the gap just becomes bigger where people embrace this stuff and then other people get left behind it. I don't know. I couldn't tell you what's going to happen, but I know what team I'm going to be on because I'm embracing it all from the start. I'm not going to be that 70-year-old guy who can't send an email from his phone.
That's what you don't want to be, is it? But there's people out there that will be happy sort of just doing that and just living life as they are.
I mean, even using the ChatGPT app on my phone just random stuff during the day.
There's another one called AI.pi. So that is like live. It's live now because obviously ChatGPT is up to March 2021 or something. So this other one is like live up to today. Yeah, just check it out. What do you reckon?
Really?
What do you think? So imagine now, right? Your job has been taken over by AI. You've got to quit, and then your business is gone under because AI is taken over. What would you do next?
That's a really good question, you know. It's actually a really good question. I think what I would do is learn why that happened and become a master of why that happened to me through AI and try to teach why that happened and how it can be prevented. I would try and do something like coaching, something along them lines, like save your job with AI or save, don't let AI take over your, like, don't fall into the traps I did. Like, it's coaching, something along them lines. It's like, I know though, it's just so thriving though, isn't it? Like, I mean,
if I get that question, just like, you know what, I don't know, but one thing I do know.
If service accommodation, if service accommodation got took over strictly by AI and it didn't need humans anymore, where would you go with it? Would you teach service accommodation through AI?
I'll always be that person that embraces AI for the business. So I don't reckon it'd ever take over. I'd always keep it at bay to work for me. But if it did happen, I don't think I'd like to.
I think what you'll see a lot of as well is things like how to use AI to improve your service accommodation business.
You definitely will.
That's products like that popping up.
Coming up with.
You'll see
every industry.
Use artificial intelligence to blow up your social media. Use AI to scale your business. All that kind of stuff will be
the new norm.
Like the next things that pop up. I think
it's sort of, people are going to embrace all that.
Yeah, definitely.
It's already happening in America.
100%, definitely. And it's
because the podcast I was listening to was called Entrepreneurs on Fire. That's obviously an American based, and this guy that has this blog company. That's all he's talking about. He's basically, all his content is basically how to embrace AI to help businesses. So it's already happening.
Mad. Yeah, it's mad. I mean, looking at it, it's just like, it's like everyone's got an iPhone now. Everyone's got a phone with a camera on. So in theory, anyone could be a videographer. In theory, or everyone's got Instagram or Facebook on their iPhone. So in theory, everyone's a social media expert. In theory, and it's just one of the things. I mean, a really interesting thing. I mean, we'll finish up in a minute, but one really interesting thing is, in terms of like ages, we went through like a Stone Age, then the Victorian Age, and then sort of the hippie age, and now we're in the digital age. I was listening, as I said, I listen to a lot of space stuff. The next age that we're going to go through is the quantum age. And what the quantum age is, if you think AI is scary, wait till you hear this. Computers will be powered by atoms. So what that means is that computers won't be powered by electric and power in a socket. It'll be powered by stars in the sky. The atoms and nitrogen and particles that come from outer space to power ourselves. So, for example, if you burn a book and you gather up all the ashes, all the gas, all the stuff that comes from it, in theory, you can reconstruct that book through atoms and putting the atoms back together and particles. In theory. Now, in theory, if you put a load of that stuff into a computer, into a quantum computer, that could reconstruct that book.
Physically?
Yeah. So, for example, if there was any information, whether it be light, like nitrogen, protons, neutrons, anything, if there's any sort of information being passed from one thing to another, a quantum computer could figure that out and how to reconstruct something. So the example that I see now is, in theory, if you get a sand castle and you build a sand castle with a thing and pull it off, that's a load of grains of sand squashed together, right? Right. In theory, you could knock that sand castle over and then reconstruct each grain of sand back to that sand castle. In theory, it's highly unlikely. And if you do that on the reverse, if a gust of wind came and blew the sand, in theory, the way the sand lands could land it's very, very, very unlikely, but the grains of sand could land as a sand castle.
Right. I've heard about this quantum computer stuff, but it was in a different format that I was explaining.
This is where quantum computers, I think, is where. Yeah, this is where you can cure mental health like this. It's this is where you can travel to way out in space without any sort of without any sort of repercussions on your life or anything like there's going to be so much shit going on. I think that's going to be the end of days personally, but that's a whole different that's a whole different stuff. I think humans will kill themselves before any
disaster type
anything else kills them.
Interesting.
Yeah. If you thought COVID was bad, I think humans will kill themselves.
Life will be too easy eventually.
It won't be some asteroid.
Imagine what
it won't be an asteroid. It won't be an asteroid.
All the diseases was gone. All money was so easy to be made that it's now worthless. Imagine that kind of world.
Yeah. That's one of my predictions. Actually, I think money, in terms of hard money, £20 notes and coins, I think all that'll be gone in 10 years.
It's not good, just automated payments. Well, it is good and it's not good because I know a lot of people still to this day take cash in hand jobs, but it's quite scary that
exactly.
There's someone like the government, they're going to know exactly what you spend your money on stuff.
Yeah, if you got a £20 note and you pay me £20 for something, and then I pay Amy £20, that's the same £20. The £20 always stays the same amount. Never, it doesn't get taxed on because it's just the same £20 circulating. Whereas if it's automated, that £20 gets taxed, and then the card, and then it gets to the point where it's nothing. So the value of money goes down. Whereas if it's in cash, the value of money always stays the same. So if I go and spend £20 in a supermarket now and use Apple Pay, Apple Pay takes its cut. The card reader takes its cut. That £20 becomes £17. Then that £17 becomes £15 later down the line when someone else gets it.
It's going to be a weird world that we're going to be living in, but I'm just more worried about that they're going to know your trends and stuff. So you get the cookies and stuff on computers now. It's going to get even deeper. They're going to know sort of when you're hungry, what you eat. It's going to go into great detail.
Oh yeah. Life is going to be on easy mode for most people. No, I don't see that. And I think that's what leads to depression and mental health issues and all that kind of stuff. I think that's what it's that old saying, is it? What is it? Easy life, hard stuff. Hard stuff, easy life.
I always feel like you've got to challenge your brain. You've always got to find challenges because otherwise your brain just doesn't grow, does it? And then you just become complacent and bored and then depressed.
Totally. Yeah. Totally. 100%.
It's a scary world. 100%. And then obviously the big companies are going to be selling the drugs to make the happy pills. Yeah, it's quite a horrible way.
I think so. I think what will happen in the shorter term, I think probably governments will step in and put some regulation on this stuff. I think that's what will happen short term. In terms of long term, I think it'll just get so big that it overthrows governments and stuff. And
what you'll probably find is someone in top of the government will be involved in it, so they'll let it happen. That's usually what happens, isn't it?
Yeah. I don't see how anyone could stop that train now. It's happened. It's out there. If you can pass a medical profession doctorate in America based on ChatGPT, then
it just means that everything needs updating, doesn't it? The whole world needs updating to sort of look at the world.
Yeah. I used to do work in a football club, and still to this day I go back there and watch the matches sometimes, and I look in the office and the guys that are running it are 75, 76, even pushing 80, and you've got they still got post-it notes in their office. They've still got drawers with organised files and stuff, and it's if they died tomorrow, no one would know where anything was. No one would know how to get into the computer, or no one knows this stuff. So I mean, all that analog era needs to go. Like same thing happened. It was like video, then it was DVD, then it was Blu-ray. All that's gone now. Like, and there's always something will come along one day and disrupt Netflix, and then some. Yeah, like everything gets disrupted eventually. Like look at TikTok, like that came out.
It'd be interesting to see what disrupts Netflix. Like everything so convenient, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it'll probably be stuff like like in-home 3D experiences and things like that.
Maybe, yeah. There's...
Like like they're talking about bringing like dead people back to life for concerts and selling it, like like George Michael,
like a hologram and stuff.
Tupac and like but actual real life artificial, so it looks like a real person, and they're going to sell tickets to it.
You know what? I'd love to attend one of them to see what it's like.
Yeah, like
it's an absolute mad world that we're in.
It's mad, isn't it? It's mad. I mean, holograms have obviously happened before, but like you look at it and go, I mean, I don't know how advanced this is going to get. Could be fucking one for the ages, really. Anyway, mate. I mean, we got deep there. I mean, that went off on a tangent massively, but I think it's really, it's actually really important for people to kind of get a grip on this, because I think if, like as we said, if you don't do it now, you're not going to be in the best position when it inevitably impacts on our life. At the moment, it's there, and we know it's coming, and we know how powerful it is, but it's not impacting on our lives much. I mean, if we don't use it, it's not going to make our day worse. But it will come a point where it just literally impacts your life quite badly. I think it's important for people to know. In terms of yourself, if anyone wants to get in touch with you or like found this interesting or wants to find out more about your work,
we have got a website called orangerentals.co.uk. So I've had to write the social media sort of stuff, write them down from Amy, because she's in charge of it, and obviously I don't have social media.
Well, what I'll do is I'll below the video as well, I'll put all the links. I'll get the links off Amy. I'll put them all the links to you guys below the video anyway when I upload it. So anyone watching this video, just click the link below. You can find out more about Orange Rentals and what they do and the impact that they're having. So thanks for your time, mate. I really, really appreciate it. We've done an hour and a half there, which was absolutely mad. I love it. I mean, we could have literally kept talking them for hours. This is cool. So yeah, Made for Video podcast over and out. Peace.